Hey guys, how have you been? Welcome back to Zacharias Corner. How's your day been? First of all, I'd like to appreciate you guys for the interaction with the last post. It was really encouraging to know that people are following and people have opinions, and to know that people are enjoying the videos. It's really nice. Please continue commenting, and if you have suggestions, questions, and all that, please, the comment section is for you guys. And before we go on with this video, I'd like to introduce our new Telegram platform. Yes, we have a platform to discuss now. You can post your questions, your opinions. We can have real-time live discussions on that platform. It's on Telegram, so you can just click. You see the link below, click it, and then you join our Telegram platform. Please, I hope to see you on that platform so that we can have a more wholesome discussion. All right. So today is, like the topic reads, is it the parent or the child? Is it the parents or the child? It's supposed to answer the question, who is really responsible for the outcome of a child's life? Is it the parents or the child? It's a very controversial topic, considering the fact that parents will have their own views, children will have their own views, and then there will be conflicting views, definitely. So, but what's a good talk show without some nice controversy? So, I'm going to be answering some questions or explaining my view on the whole topic generally, and then if you have questions, opinions, and then things you want us to discuss on this topic, actually, you can always just post it on the comment section below, or like I said, our Telegram platform, and then we can have a more holistic view of everybody's, input. So this is going to be the first installment of this topic. We're going to discuss it again on the next video, and then probably the video after that, depending on how much of, talk we have to do. So yeah, that's it. That's what we're talking about today. Who's really responsible for the outcome of a child's life? So the real topic will start, or the real discussion will start after you guys post your comments and questions and experiences and all that. So today I just want to start with an introduction by explaining what I feel about the whole thing. I understand that, and then this video is for you that have issues with your parents, for people who have, that need closure with their parents, people who have had weird experiences, and then for parents that are finding it difficult to train their children. So this video is for all of us so that we can have some sort of common ground to discuss these obvious issues. And I've noticed that people tend to really talk more about romantic relationships, friendship, agape love your neighbors, yourself, all this kind of love. They don't really focus on the fact that family is important. Family is important. The first thing a child gets exposed to is the family. No, it's the hospital. But after the hospital, the family. You get what I'm trying to say? So is the first thing a child gets exposed to is the family, and then children learn from. I'm trying to explain from both sides now so that we can have a more holistic view of the question. Children learn from what they see, and kids are a lot smarter than we give them credit for. Psychologists and child psychologists will tell you that a baby is not as dumb as you think they are. Babies are very smart, and then they can't really communicate what they know because they're babies, but they really do know a lot. And then if you notice, children pick up what they see. You see a toddler wearing the mommy's heels and then just walking around the toddler. You see a young boy, baby, struggling with the steering with daddy, because they learn from what they see. So it's kind of safe to say that parents do have some role that they play on their kids. So what a child likes, what a child becomes, what a child says can really be largely based on what they see their parents do. That is true. That is correct. That is the popular opinion. But there is another perspective to it, and then we're going to talk about that, because it's as if we're now putting all the responsibility on parents, that okay, whatever your child becomes is your fault. No, there's some families that are good and loving and their children still become bad. There's some rich families that give them all they need and they still become thieves and robbers. It's not really based. So from this instances, you can infer that it's not really all based on the kind of family. So it can also be based on the child, because at the end of the day, the decisions that you make that eventually put you in trouble or put you in a class of bad people is yours. You made the decision, not your dad, not your mom. So if you're still in that category of people who blame their parents for everything, tendencies are you've not really grown up, because yes, your parents can really affect you, but you still get to make choices. There are people who have bad parents or bad childhood experiences and still turn out to be good people. So it's really more of what you decide to make out of yourself and not really what your parents do. I'm not saying your parents do not have an effect. Yes, they do, obviously, to a large extent. do have an effect. And there's a lot of things that parents need to know as well. Parents, it is not, sometimes that particular measure you put in place to train your child is the problem. That training, that harshness, that I want to train you is, I feel like it's more important for you to love your child than to really, train them. I'm not saying you shouldn't train your children, but the training should be born out of love. You train somebody you love, you are more likely to do it well. Because some things that parents do as, I'm training this boy, I'm training this girl, doesn't really bring out the best in them sometimes. So as parents, you need to learn how to love your child. Children are different. You can't train the first child the same way you train the second child. You can't train the third child the same way. You have to tailor each person's training and love to the person's personality. Another thing I learned, or another thing I feel like I should talk about, is the fact that it's not a team thing. Some people it's like parents versus children in the family. That's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a whole family, like parents and the children together. And it's not mommy and the male child and daddy and the female child. That's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like a holistic system. So yeah, parents do have a lot of effect on their children, and I feel like parents should learn to love their kids. Yeah, parents should learn to love their kids. There's some things you do that are really not good. Some of the questions that will pop up are, what are the things that parents do that have adverse effects on their children? But we're not talking about that today. Now to the children. First thing you need to understand, and I said parents love your children. Children, you can love your parents as well. It's not really, when I say children, I'm not talking to the babies. You can be 30 years old as somebody's child. So it's not really about the age, it's about the fact that you're somebody's offspring and you have parents. You have people who you should develop a good relationship with. If you don't have a good relationship with your parent, please try and work on it. Pray about it. Humble yourself. Read up on parenting psychology if you have to. Just do something to work on that relationship because you need to. The child effect. There's something called the child effect that I want to really bring to bear in this discussion. See, there's a lot of things to talk about, and I'm really excited about this, talk, because I know that people have questions, suggestions, experiences, opinions, and all that. But there's something called the child effect. Psychologists will tell you that, this phenomenon of rich parents have rich kids, good parents have good kids, bad parents have bad kids, intelligent parents have intelligent kids. Like, you're supposed to be the son of your father, right? I cannot be a lion and my daughter will be a fowl or chicken. If you still call chicken fowl, I don't know what to say to you, but don't let me get distracted. So your parents, if your parents a lion, you have to be a lion. You understand that kind of stuff. People believe that the reason that this is true is because the parents or because they have different reasons to believe that this is true, and that is true. But that is acceptable. But there are 3 reasons that psychologists believe can be responsible for that effect. And the first is the genes. If I have certain genes, being the man, my genes will be the dominant genes, then my wife will be recessive. That is basic psychology. That is what causes children to be in a certain way, right? In terms of genes. The second possibility is that because I want my children to be a certain way, I start doing certain things. If I want my children to be rich, I don't want them to lack sandal for school. I work hard so that I have money. You understand? So it's not really like I was rich and then my children are raised. I made the decision to become a certain way so that my children will be affected by it. That is the second thing responsible for that, replication in family, And the third thing is very, very nice. This is the one I want to talk about. It's called the child effect. The child effect is a concept, or is a psychological concept that suggests that children have an effect on their parents. That means children can affect how the parents are. For instance, now, that you can give birth to a child and the child has traits that are kind of untraceable to both parents. Let's say 2 of you are dullards. I'm just saying, 2 of you don't know much. You don't know book. Okay, that's an extreme example. You've seen children who have dark parents and they're fair. It happens a lot of times. But there are some kids that have this. They have this high IQ. They're very intelligent, and the parents are not really too much. Some children just become from childhood they become bookworms. They like reading a lot. That's a very perfect example. Now, tendencies are, because you have a child that reads a lot and likes to read, as a parent, you start reading more to be able to relate to that child. Have you seen parents stay up all night solving mathematics questions because they know that the child will come tomorrow with assignment? You understand? So that's what is called the child effect. So it's possible that it's not only the parents that affect the children too have an effect on the parent. There are some things you can do as a child that will affect your parents. There's some things that you can do. So some of the things you think your parents are doing, the way your parents are acting, my parents are abusive and all that, you think they're abusive. But at the end of the day, it might just be because of what you're doing. Some people will say, okay, psychologists will say if a parent that gives birth to a child who does annoying things, those parents are more likely to spank that child. So at the end of the day, it's not only your parents that have an effect on you, you also have an effect on your parents, psychologically proven. So if your parents are doing certain things that you do not like or you feel like it's abusive, chances are you might be the cause. There's something called the child effect. Look it up. It's a real thing. So there's a lot of things to talk about, on the topic of parents and children. And there's some questions like, who has more effects on the child, the dad or the mom? Other questions like, what are the things parents do that affect their children adversely? You can add your own questions. These are the questions I'll be asking or answering in the next video. So you can add your own questions, your own suggestions, your own opinions. Another question is, how do I deal with abusive parents? So yeah, thank you very much for joining us today. That will be all on Zacharias Corner. Like I said, if you have your questions, send them to our Telegram platform or in the comment section below. Thank you. Bye-bye.